I know he's been hurt, but when he's been on the field, he does produce. He has a very friendly team option at $11 million next year. I know there's a glut of middle infielders coming in. Boy, oh boy, for $11 million, I don't know if you can find the type of power production that you can get from Bilal when he's healthy.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this will be our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
And it is spring training in action. So go ahead, grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started.
All right. As we've mentioned briefly, spring training games are being played. I actually went to a spring training game over the weekend, and I have some discussion about the automatic ball strike challenge system, which we'll probably save for episode 2. But I did make it to opening day, not of a Rays game, but of a Phillies Tigers game over in Lakeland. I checked that out, and there were quite a few people there, as you could imagine. The weather was just absolutely perfect, unlike Monday.
Yeah, Monday was crappy weather. But I guess we both went to an opening day this weekend.
Yes, you went actually probably to a more meaningful and important opening day, and I will let you take it over from there.
Well, it was opening day for the spring season of Buddy Baseball, and I got a little picture to show you guys on YouTube. For those on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And look at that. Field 1 is now named Dave Wills Field. A very nice tribute to somebody who is just basically a Rays legend and was able to use his platform to promote Buddy Baseball any chance that he got. And he was the person that I know Buddy Baseball because of Dave Wills. And right. I participate in Buddy Baseball because of Dave Wills. And everybody there that is volunteering and spending some time to have the, let the kids have fun and just have a good time outside when otherwise they wouldn't be, and meet people and be social and do something that's not screen based. Awesome. Yeah. And so we got Dave Wills to thank for that. And so that was, I just wanted to take a little moment to say thanks, Dave.
So now, did they, I guess, unveil the field during that opening day, or had that been done prior?
It was already there when I got there because our team played at 1:15. And so the first games are at 9:30. So there could have been something. I just, our game was at 1.
I wasn't sure if there were, members of the Wills family that were there to commemorate the occasion and so
maybe in the morning. Okay.
I don't know. Well, while you have the platform, if you just want to give a moment or two as to the purpose of Buddy Baseball and what it entails for people that may not know.
My pleasure, man. So Buddy Baseball is a league where kids with special needs are paired up with a buddy, and you basically play a baseball game for around 3 innings or so. And those, kids that need a little bit of help, well, they get to socialize, they get to learn the game, they get to run, they get to hit, they get to field, with a buddy next to them to help them out. They all have their walk-up songs. They get told their favorite dish, what they like to do as they walk up to the plate. It's a really neat opportunity to just like do something different. And if we're always looking for buddies, we're always looking for coaches, for players. So definitely, if you're able to give an hour of your Saturday for 6 to 8 weeks, I think it's a tremendous thing you can do.
Something tells me you feel better afterwards as opposed to waking up in the morning, eating breakfast, and watching Netflix from your bed.
100%.
I think you get more fulfillment out of doing something like buddy baseball than Saturday or whatnot. Just saying.
It fuels and feeds your soul 100%.
Yes. All right. We do have some Rays baseball talk to get into, but first, Ulises, I think we need to tell the audience something very, very, very important.
Yes, we do. And people, about FanDuel. So that then FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And the NBA action is just getting started. And with FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right. Well, one of the storylines that have come out of spring training is that Yandy Díaz may no longer be exclusively the leadoff man. That was showcased in Sunday's 4-2 exhibition win over the Braves, where the Rays had lefty Richie Palacios leading off and Yandy Díaz batting second. And part of the thought process among Rays coaches and front office types are that, hey, let's slide him down in the order slightly to capitalize on more RBI opportunities. And based on the comments that were put forth by Yandy through his interpreter, it seems like he's okay with it. He's fine with doing whatever helps the team most. What's interesting is Yandy led off in 2023. We saw how good that offense was. Yandy led off in 2024. We saw how bad that offense was. So I'm all for, tinkering around to find the best solution. It would just look a little bit different than what we're so used to, I guess. But that's what the Rays do. They keep everybody on their toes. They don't put everybody in the same order, game in, game out, and maybe it'll start with Yandy in 2025.
I think the thing that we forget about how the Rays operate, it's not analytics is everything. No, it's bigger than that. It's
right.
What's the next way that we can win? What's the next way that we can just squeeze something out of it that nobody else is doing? What can we do different and still be productive? Mm-hmm. So the leading off worked 2023, didn't really work 2024. Why not try something new? Why not try, hey, he hits lower in the order versus righties and then leads off against lefties.
Right.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I think, in fact, if you're making that your play with righties, I mean, it would be pretty nice to see Junior in the cleanup spot. Yeah. Because if you've got a couple guys on base, Big Junior's coming up, and you know what can happen is if he barrels it, that's a 3-run shot. That not a lot of Rays fans have had the opportunity to see a lot of those. Maybe with Pena, but Pena did have one season where there was a lot of solo bombs. So anything that can help that offense is welcomed 100%.
Yeah. Now, so I mentioned that Palacios led off in Sunday's exhibition. Now, it's been reported that some other candidates could be Jonathan Aranda and Josh Lowe as lefties. And then I'm also thinking down the line a little bit, Ha-Seong Kim, perhaps an option when he's back and healthy. And then God willing, maybe later on in the season, although he'd probably be put towards the end of the order to start. But I see this guy as, if he lives up to the hype, Chandler Simpson being a top-notch leadoff candidate when the time comes. Because the knock on Yandy, of course, is the lack of speed at the top of the order.
You can't clog off the bases with like 2, 3, and 4 coming right back. Dude, I don't want to get sidetracked, but you named Chandler Simpson, and I feel like we need to talk about Chandler Simpson very, very soon. I'm thinking maybe on a Wednesday app, because I saw a mailbag come in about Chandler. So we're going to talk about Chandler Simpson on Wednesday. People, hold your comments about Chandler Simpson until that Wednesday.
The Rays love him. The Rays love him. I think everybody loves him. And I love the fact that he's a throwback. And
except somebody who last week was saying that Chandler Simpson's not a center fielder, and that the metrics don't grade him out there. Well, whoever the commenter was, I'm forgetting your name. I'm sorry, or your username. Did you see the couple plays that he did against Boston in a couple innings? Because that looked like a guy that could play center field. Give the time, give some breathing room for a guy to develop. People, stop looking at Fangraphs all the time. Just let the guy just season himself a little bit. Jeez.
I didn't even realize there were publicly facing minor league analytics. Maybe I'm not looking at the right place on Savant. I guess Fangraphs might have some data that I'm not privy to. But
I mean, I'm guessing reading articles on minor league players on Fangraphs. But the point remains, let's give some. He's not a center fielder. No, you don't know that, and I don't care what you read. Let's give some chance to a guy that can develop and see the game and play the game, Well,
you know what? The Rays really don't have a true center fielder on the roster as it is presently. So might as well give him a shot.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Yeah.
Doesn't that tell you how highly they think of Chandler Simpson?
Right. And how unhighly they think of the attitude of Jose Siri and the other guys as well. But yeah, it's interesting that Josh Lowe was brought up. Again, like all the spring training storylines are, this guy's in the best shape ever. This guy has reworked his swing. This guy's ready to make a huge impact. And we know that not all of it's going to come true. I mean, it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's all positive stories that are being pushed out, which is great. It gets people hyped and pumped for spring training in the regular season. But it does appear that, again, just based on what I've read and what everybody is saying, is that Josh Lowe is finally healthy. We know he dealt with the core issue, the oblique issue, and that led to mechanical issues, and he just wasn't himself in 2024. For the Rays to be successful, Josh Lowe has to be himself in 2025. But the reason I bring that up is if he's able to replicate what he did in 2023, which was pretty much historic if you combine what he did with his average, what he did with the home runs, what he did with the RBIs, what he did with the doubles, what he did with the steals and the OPS. It was such a rare, or such a special occurrence, I should say. You hope he's able to replicate it year in and year out. But with those types of numbers, I don't know if he should be the leadoff spot or if he should be dropped down lower in the order just based on the power metric that he has. But then again, you also have the speed factor to his game. So I'm sure the Rays are looking at every nook and cranny to figure out the best combination for everyone. And maybe it ends up being, well, Yandy's always been the leadoff guy, or he's been the leadoff guy the last couple of years. That's where he's most comfortable. It might just take some tinkering. If he goes in a slump, you put him back in the top spot, and then bing, bang, boom, you're done. It's settled from there.
Well, and we've seen that with since Joe Madden days, right? Like, hey, the guy's struggling. Hey, put him at the leadoff. Like, just shake him off, so that he gets out of his own head by doing something different. By the way, people, nobody expects everybody to just remember these numbers off the top of the dome, but I will let you know that in 135 games that Josh Lowe played in 2023, he had a batting average of 292, an on base of 335, a slug of 500 on the dot. That's an 835 OPS, a 128 OPS plus. That you add 20 home runs and you had 32 stolen bases.
And that was just in 135 games.
135. That's missing a month of ball. And he was a 2030 guy. So if Josh Lowe of 2023 is the same, if Josh Lowe of 2025 is the same as 2023, I think you have an incredible problem in your hands, because I'd want to see Josh Lowe lead off. But I mean, if a guy that has a slugging of 500 in a Rays uniform isn't hitting 345, I'm having an issue with that. Just like my boomer brain of baseball is like, why is a guy that has a slugging of 500 batting leadoff? And then again, I would just see, Dodger baseball and see Shohei Ohtani leading off, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. Yeah, it's no problem. But really, no, I think, no jokes aside, like it would be an incredibly good problem to have if Josh Lowe is as prolific as he was in 2023, because now you can do so much with the lineup, Kev. I mean, you can really just mix and match between Josh. You can do Kim. You can do Yandy at the top. You can do Bilal if he's healthy. Junior just in the mix all the time. And now you're really creating a lineup that's 5-6 deep, because what you need is the side characters, for them to also thrive in this offense. And the side characters would be Danny Jansen, who has homered in his 2 first appearances as a Ray. Pretty cool. I know it's spring training, but still, like, these side characters need to do something. What about Christopher Morel? Can he do something for this offense? They're expecting big things out of Christopher Morel.
Yeah, he's kind of been the guy that like nobody's talked about so far. I haven't seen much on him yet. So hopefully he can do what he was acquired to do. It's funny we bring up all these players. I mean, we talk about Yandy, we talk about Josh Lowe, and we talk about Brandon Lowe. Now, those are all guys that need to stay healthy. And, another cool spring training storyline is just the fact that another year, and that means more of Brandon Lowe.
Yeah.
Brandon Lowe, I know Mark Topkin wrote an article the other day about the possibility or the thought of him being a lifetime Ray, and we know the challenges and difficulties of that, but it would be really cool to see if it winds up being that way. I don't think it will be, but for the moment, we should just appreciate the fact that Brandon Lowe has been in a Rays uniform since August 2018, and that, for example, Yandy Díaz has been in a Rays uniform since 2019. So it's not often we see 2 players like that year in and year out, they're still in the same Tampa Bay uniform. So we should at least appreciate it in that lens as well, I would think.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like with Randy leaving last season, it was kind of like, the departure from everything that turned out to be from 2019, 2020. But they still remain here, Brandon and Yandy. And with Brandon, it's very cool because, Topkin mentioned only 8 players have accrued more service time by days on the active roster or injured list with the Rays than Bilal, 6 years and 58 days. And any Rays fan would have no trouble accepting these names: Alex Cobb, Chris Archer, James Shields, DJ Upton. I mean, just legends, right? Then Zobrist, Crawford, Kiermaier, and of course Longo. Like, Bilal, I know he has the Kevin Kiermaier effect on this fandom of he's always hurt. I don't care for him. Trade that guy. I get it. And he has disappeared in the playoffs.
Yes, that's a big factor. Yeah.
Smallish, medium sample size. I can't say some small sample size because it's like 110 plate appearances or a bit more.
Yeah.
But around there, it's not like 5. It's not 10. It's not Mike Trout. Okay.
Right.
Brandon Lowe has seen almost 90 plate appearances more than Mike Trout has ever seen in October. BT dubs.
I Googled Brandon Lowe playoffs, and the first result on Google is the subject is Brandon Lowe the worst playoff performer in MLB history. Not Rays history, but MLB history.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's second on mine.
Somebody at least has put together an analysis of that unfortunate.
That's an
Thing.
unfortunate price to win. Hopefully, hey, guess what? He changes that up in 2025. But regardless, like I know he's been hurt, but when he's been on the field, he does produce. He has a very friendly team option at 11 million next year. I know there's a glut of middle infielders coming in.
Right.
I understand that in people, and Rays fans usually are more prospect hugging than other organizations. So of course we want to see the young guys come up and succeed. I get that. But boy, oh boy, for $11 million, I don't know if you can find the type of power production that you can get from Bilal when he's healthy. I know, people.
Right.
But when he's healthy, my God, maybe 11 million for 20 bombs. That's maybe bang for your buck right there.
Yeah. No, and I would think, to me, Brandon Lowe seems like a guy that isn't solely focused on the almighty dollar, that he has a family, he has young kids. He doesn't seem to be just, based on a far outside view that he's, chasing whoever's going to offer him the most money. Like, if the Rays gave him a reasonable offer after the option, which hopefully gets picked up, that he would stick around for a team friendly deal and, hopefully end his career in a Rays uniform. A lot of things have to happen for that to occur. I mean, really the next step is him, being the guy who has the longest tenure in a Rays uniform, not necessarily your entire career with the Rays, but he is starting to knock on the door. And I know there's some drawbacks, and we can talk about postseason and we can talk about health, but there might be a case, if he's able to have a couple more successful years, of Rays Hall of Fame, getting that induction at some point in time.
He's very close to for that to happen. I'm like, if he has a good year this year,
yeah,
that I think that would automatically kind of make the Rays kind of think, oh, well, $11 million, where are we going to get that production? I mean, never count the Rays out for trading anybody, but it would make it a little bit more difficult for them to say, yeah, let's just trade Brett. No, maybe we should keep him, just like they did this year. I mean, Steinbrenner probably also affected that decision.
Yeah, Steinbrenner should be a good factor for him and Josh Lowe and every other lefty that has a semblance of pop, which you mentioned it briefly here. Brandon Lowe, for you, what would constitute a good season from him in 2025?
Give me triple-digit games played.
Okay.
Give me at least a hundo.
Okay.
That's bar minimum. And in 100 games, can you give me 20 bombs and then 780, 830 OPS?
From the second base spot.
From the second base spot, from the DH spot, from playing manager. I don't care where you stick this guy in the lineup. But if he's able to do that, I mean, last year in 107 games, he had a 783 OPS with 21 bombs. If he's able to do that again, I think that's money.
So really, all you're asking, and he's capable of doing a lot more than that.
A lot more.
Essentially what he did in both 2023 and 2024. It's very, the numbers are very similar, in and out when you look up and down the line, from the OPS to the home runs, to the games played, the RBIs.
Conservative of my part.
Yeah,
that's very conservative on my part, because just like you said earlier, Steinbrenner Field should, help out with these numbers, especially the power numbers, where, okay, I'm asking for 20, but really, can you give me 26, babes?
Yeah.
I'm asking for 780, 810, 820 OPS, but babes, can you give me 830 instead? 840? Because that'd be nice.
And I mean, on the open market, like, again, even just playing 105, 110 games, he's still a 2 to 2.5 4 player. So you're still, making it up by, even if you're paying him $10, $11 million, whatever it is. So
exactly,
just wanted to throw that out and just recognize Brandon Lowe for a moment. Do not look up his playoff numbers, because they are ugly. So that's going to be something to monitor. If, God willing, the Rays make the playoffs, can he actually get off the schneid and either, look, it could be a mental thing, it could be a exhausted at the end of the season thing, it could be not a fully healthy thing, but something has to give. Like, at what point do the Rays say, yes, we know how valuable you are in the regular season, but the only way we can really afford to play you is we're sliding you down to 8th or 9th in the order?
I think I have these numbers way too memorized. I said 110 plate appearances, 113. It's 120.
Okay.
So right on the money. A slash line of 115, 167, 257 for a 423 OPS. Taylor Walls is looking at these numbers and saying, I'm better than that. I'm better
Alex
than that.
Jackson is looking at these numbers and saying, that's doable.
I can do that. Give me a couple weeks, bro.
Yes, exactly. There we go. So that is your spring training report for today's episode. On tomorrow's episode, we're going to talk about the automatic ball strike system that is being deployed throughout the spring training exhibition games, and who's going to fill out the bench on the Rays roster. There's not many spots to go around. We'll talk about that on the next episode.